Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Single Malt Review, where we bring you the most interesting whiskies from us to you. So to keep this rhyme train going, here's Dave with a Tamdhu.
Indeed, Tamdhu, up in Speyside, they've been around for close to 120 years, barring the occasional closure here and there. What we have this time is a 17-year-old Tamdhu, independently bottled by our old favourites at Adelphi.
And this one's coming from a sherry butt, we can tell because of the quite large number of bottles coming out of this one. Where does it say? 580 bottles they got out of this one, so that's definitely a sherry butt. You're never going to get that out of a barrel or a hogshead. So I'd say probably a second fill as well.
This one was distilled in 95, bottled in 2012, in the middle of Tamdhu's most recent temporary closure.
You can see the rather limited information that Adelphi put on their otherwise quite nice labels there.
I quite like that approach. Lets the whiskey really speak for itself and doesn't try to cloud your preconceptions.
You can always look it up on their labyrinthian database, which has no search function and no sort function. Everything is simply uploaded chronologically due to when it came out. So good luck, because it gets more complex every year. But you can find everything they've bottled on there eventually. Set aside the afternoon, though.
Now, it's a hearty 58.8% ABV, but I'm going to give it a go unadulterated, unwatered at first.
On the nose, it's a really quite a sweet, rich, very buttery whiskey.
I think I get Christmas pudding with brandy.
Sort of a buttered brandy butter, if you've ever had that particular sort. It's been a long time for me, but I hear it's popular in some parts of the world. There is sort of there's a kind of fruit that you would get off sherry, quite a bit of stone fruit, rich red fruits, but they're very much in their dessert incarnation. Everything here is with a sort of side of custard, at least on the nose.
I'm tasting already pineapple, oranges, I think the sharply sweet acidic fruit.
Definitely pineapples. There's actually quite a lot of really rather mature sherry characters on here, even though it's only 17 years old. That lovely pineapple is coming out already. You don't normally get that until well into the 20s in old sherry casks, but this one is bringing it already. It's really quite a interestingly medium colour. It doesn't sing out sherry, but there's that just hint of brown note to the gold, which would did we not know that it was a sherry butt, would make you slightly suspicious as to whether it was truly a bourbon or not. It's pretty strong at that 58%, so it will want a wee bit of water, although it's not overpowering.
A little water that's mellowed nicely. There's a lot more wood there on the nose and on the tongue.
Marvellous old sherry cask characters in here. It really is quite mature beyond its years, which is always good to see.
A little bit of that apple, that fruit waxiness that is more characteristic of a Speyside, but it's really subdued. I like that.
I'm getting nuts now. There's hazelnut, walnut, even a little bit of macadamia coming out, and quite a lot of honey with that water now. The more buttery caramel has freshened just slightly and gone a wee bit more floral into that honey spectrum of sweetness.
Some toffee, so there's some caramel sauce. You get a lot of desserts, a lot of Christmassy puddings out of this whiskey. I like that.
It's really rather good, actually. I haven't had too many Tamdhus before, but I have had quite recently the official bottling, which is still available, although presumably they're going to have a bit of a problem given that the distillery has been closed right up until 2013, I think it was, so there'll be a bit of a gap at some point, but at any rate, the 10-year-old Tamdhu is available in a really slightly overblown, enormous glass bottle, but it's well priced and it's a really pretty good whiskey for 10 years old, so I would recommend trying it if you're interested in Tamdhu. As for this one, I think this is really pretty good example of a mediumly sherry matured whiskey. It's not overt with anything. It's still got quite a lot of freshness, quite a lot of depth in there. It's not gone, it's not a sherry bomb, as they say. It's really quite restrained, and those are fairly rare these days. It's quite an old-fashioned style of whiskey, sherry matured and yet subdued.
Yes, I like the subdued quality too. It doesn't go to any extremes except on those acidic fruits. I like that it's just an explosion of pineapple and oranges. That really works for me.
Excellent stuff. And scores-wise, that's 83 from me. And 1 fruit fly. Yeah.
I'm really partial to this too. I would give this a solid 86. It's way up there on Speyside whiskies.
Really good bottling from Adelphi. Alas, totally unavailable now. But they do seem to have quite a good line onto Tamdhu casks. And they normally come out with 1 or 2 a year. If you've got somewhere that does stock Adelphi, let them know and they can probably track one down for you. But at any rate, this has been the Single Malt Review. We will get back to work finding you some more whiskies to have a look at. In the meantime, Slàinte.